afraid. I intended to have this video out probably about a fortnight ago, but with various things happening, work being, because I do have a full-time job, work being really busy, I just haven't had a chance to get this edited together. In the meantime, a few things have changed, such as software updates and so on, for the device I'm going to be talking about today. And that is the Insta360 One R. It's a modular camera system, which I have here. It's a beast of a system, and it gives GoPro a real run for its money. I have the three main modules, the 360 module, which is on here, which shoots at 5.7K, which is effectively 2.85K per side, and then that's done stitched back to back. So 2.85K for a 180 degree image, and again the same on the rear of it. There's also a 4K module, which is this one, which is a 12 megapixel. This is much more similar to a standard GoPro, or in fact a GoPro 7, which I've got knocking around here somewhere, which I've been doing direct comparisons with for this one. I'll go into that in a little more detail in a mo. This shoots 4K 60 frames per second and up to 200 frames per second for slow-mo, which is just a little bit below the 240 that you get out of a GoPro 7, or in fact the GoPro 8 or the GoPro 9. But anyway, it's still a decent little camera, and as part of that and a 360 system with a screen that's reversible, it's going to give GoPro say a bit of a push for itself. The third module I have is the Leica 1-inch module. So this again can be swapped out. I'll demonstrate this in a moment. That's got a 19 megapixel sensor in it, and it's a 1-inch one and a Leica optics, which I'd say it does give a better result, but whether it's again so noticeable, well, we'll see on that. That again can shoot up to 5.3K at 30 frames per second. So compared to the GoPro 7 or the GoPro 8, it's ousting it as far as resolution. Now, again, very recently we've had the GoPro 9 launch, and that kind of compete directly with this. As far as resolution goes, quality, well, you might be the judge of that later on. They're also promising a range of other modules, including an invisible drone module, which sounds quite interesting. In fact, that one is available, I just don't have it yet. And that clips either side of a DJI drone, and it effectively masks out in that sort of invisible line between the two 180 degree cameras, masks out the drone. So you get this almost like an orb or sphere of filming going around your drone. Pretty cool. Again, maybe I'll link to some videos on that on elsewhere on YouTube underneath, down here, at the end of it, so you can go and have a quick look at that. The one I'm really interested in though is a 3D module. So it'll be effectively, from the diagrams anyway, because it's not been released yet, it appears to be two 4K modules mounted onto some gadget with, I'm guessing, as this screen is the brains behind it, that's probably mounted somewhere in between, but that evidently is going to need some kind of other bracket, and I don't believe it's the module that comes with the invisible drone. But even though that is two lenses, of course, split, one of these split in half. But we'll see. I'm looking forward to that because I've got some ideas for some 3D pictures, basically. All of these are in fact waterproof up to 5 meters. It does involve, even though apparently it is waterproof like this, but really you need the little cage that comes with it, just to keep them squeezed together as a simple alignment on that. Pop that in and then just lock it into place. It's pretty quick to change. The only one that's a fiddle is if you put the 1-inch module on there, because it has a lens on the front or glass protector on the front to protect the lens, and you need to remove that to put it into the cage. I did pick up another cage which was supposed to get around that, because it kind of undoes from the bottom and you can pull it open and clip it in there, but to be honest, it's still a fiddle. So I think sticking with that one and just accepting the fact that if you're out and about on the field and you do need to swap over to this module, then you're stuck with taking this off, and then you need to keep a lens cloth or something handy, just so you can look after it and protect it, because again, you don't want that lens scratched. This would be cheap enough to replace the lens underneath is probably a replacement module if you damage that. I did pick up also a cheap case. This one I got off of eBay. It's $12.99 and it's got sufficient space inside to take the camera in there with perhaps a 360 module on. It does, by the way, come with a nice little lens cap which goes over the 360 module to protect both lenses, so you do want to keep that to hand. And space for the 1-inch module and for the 4K module on the other side. And room as well for a couple of extra batteries. So a nice little unit to carry it all around and keep it nice and safe. So I would recommend that. Other little features which are nice with it, we'll come back to the quality in a moment. Other features which are really nice are the fact that if you've got an Apple Watch, you can use this for stop-start and taking pictures and so on. That's really handy. Not got a great distance on it, but it's a good remote. I have tried a couple of the cheap Bluetooth remotes, including one that other YouTube channels have said they got working. Totally failed on that. I bought the exact one they said, and I cannot get them to work and stop-start from a Bluetooth. The watch works fine. That's a great workaround. And of course, you've got the app on the phone. So on an iPhone or an Android phone, you can use that to remote control and choose the settings. And in fact, I think that's probably the best way to go. So that's a nice feature, being able to control it from a watch. They also give you support for the EarPods. I have got a set, still haven't got them to hand. And that is a useful way to use it as a microphone, and then to, when playing back your footage, just to hear what you recorded, if the audio was okay. Neat, does the job. It's not brilliant quality, I must admit. What I prefer to do is to use their little mic adapter, which was about, I think it's £11, really, really cheap. Plugs into the USB-C port on the side. More about the USB-C port and access door in a minute. But that plugs it on the side and giving you a standard 3.5mm jack. So you can then stick on a little Rode mic or something like that. I've got a Rode Mic Go, a little portable wireless system. That works a treat with it as well. So I think that's my preferred version, but EarPods could be good in a condition where you're a little bit separated from the camera, but I say I found a slight delay and the quality was not that great. Software updates which are coming out all the time did help with that a little, but it's still nowhere near as good as having a proper mic on it. Additionally, you can also get a boosted battery pack. So I found the battery to last pretty well on this. Typically around about 45 minutes, but it depends whether you stop starting or just continuous recording and so on. But the little battery pack, just like the rest of it, it's just a quick little release catch on the side, drops away. On that quickly, this is the modular system. Reversible camera, so you can have it looking towards you for vloggers out there, or from behind if you're filming somebody else. Obviously a little bit irrelevant when it comes to the 360 mod, but definitely very useful when you're working with the 1-inch mod or the 4K mod. But that's the battery pack, and they do a boosted battery pack which is just deeper. And I've also seen quite a handy one where it's on here we go, I've got a little selfie stick here. Now I like taking pictures of burning steel wool. It's a kind of side hobby, and the GoPro has always stood me really, really well. I'll pop some pictures up in a sec, taken with this. These are night shots, obviously, and using the Protunes mode where you can choose a long exposure. You can set the exposure time and the color balance and so on it. And they've been really, really good. And it's a hardy little device. You can stick it somewhere where it doesn't matter if it gets wet or if hot molten steel falls on it. So far I've not managed to damage the lens or anything, so I'm pretty pleased with it. And the 360 module opened up some new possibilities, and that's one that came in the original twin pack. I thought I'd take it out and see what I could produce. So take a look at these shots. Now these, again, it was done with the camera in a couple of different positions in front of me, and using the steel wool and getting them to, with the camera maybe 12 feet in front, 10 to 12 feet in front of me. I could then do the sparks over the top of them and then get this nice sort of encompassing effect on it. So again, the camera, rather like the GoPro, has got an equivalent to a Protunes mode. So you can set things like exposure, time-lapse photos, or just continuous shot. The way I did it on this one, in fact, was just to set it up to do a shot when I tapped my watch. So I used the Apple Watch to control it and set it up with the 360 module plugged in as per this. Battery pack on in the little cage, then sat on a little tripod, I say 10 to 12 feet away from me, pointing up towards me, and I could do the sparks over the top of it and then come out with this sort of effect, which I'm very pleased with. I've taken on a couple excursions like that. So the 360 side is really, really cool. You can also do some pretty neat things. I did, is one of the many tricks that you can do with the app. And I think it's probably fair to point out at this point, this is one of the real winning things of the Insta360. Using their 360 app, which is constantly being updated with new features, you can do these quick effects, all done without even transferring the images from the camera to your phone or your iPad, whatever you're going to run it on. And you can do these crazy effects like the little planet and this one, which I really, really like, which is where it takes a snapshot of you as you're running around or walking around the camera. So you plop the camera down on a little tripod in a reasonably open space, as you can see from this, and then you go around the outside of it, and then using one of their little effects, it processes the video. You can just mark the person that you want to track. It tracks them around the shot as if they're being panned around. So this is done with a stationary camera in the middle, and you get this superb effect where it leaves little snapshots. I mean, they're not flawless if you zoom in on them afterwards, but when you just first see it, it's pretty incredible. So that side of it, the 360 and the control over image settings, absolutely can't complain at all, no problem at all. Works really great. But the area that is not so impressive is when using the standard either 4K module or even the 1-inch sensor. I've had these mounted on my mountain bike along with a GoPro 7, trusty old GoPro 7, and even though the image quality I would generally say is good, at night it's not been a big step up from the GoPro 7's image, but the problem is a weird vibration effect you get. Have a look at this clip in a minute and I'll put it through and then we'll slow it down and have a quick look at it. So this is the cameras. I mean, I'll stick a picture for this, but it's both cameras mounted almost identically on the front of the bike. The sound differences, well, I still think the GoPro's got this one anyway, but it's not terrible, and you can easily and cheaply put a mic on this one. Fixed or clamped on the front of a mountain bike, it's the fine vibration. The GoPro, I mean, when you're swooping around, it's as smooth as anything. This one, smooth as anything. But you go over some rocks or anything like that, some things which kind of just give it that extra shake, even though they're securely clamped on it. This one, the image, it just disappears almost. Just the fine detail of it. On the GoPro, it still keeps it really, really smooth. So, and I'm running this on the latest version of the software. I've done night rides and daytime rides, and each time I would still give the edge on the GoPro, and that's on the GoPro 7. Now, a little bit of a teaser for my next video. All of this is being filmed on the GoPro 9, and I shall be doing some comparison shots between the 7, the 9, and the 1-inch Leica lens on the Insta360 One R shortly. But yeah, let's look at the footage again and just see. It's I give it to the GoPro on this one, I'm afraid. Once the cameras are locked down, pretty much equal. There's nothing in it really. So if you need the flexibility, I think bottom line, if you need the flexibility where you want to do 360, I love the 360 side of it. And it certainly complements everything I do on the GoPro. But then you don't want to be investing in multiple cameras, then this is definitely a good step forward. I'm not so sure I would bother with the Leica 1-inch sensor unless you're doing long night exposure shots, when I've definitely seen some improvements over this one. but it's a general action camera module, then the 4K one is really right up there with the GoPro. And then the 360 module you can swap out, and that gives you something that, unless you get the GoPro Max, then you know, you've got it all in one thing where you can just swap something over. So I think, summarised at the end of it, it gets definitely a thumbs up for the 360. On the action camera side, it's good. I haven't really covered much of the screen so far, but it's a dinky little screen on there. It's about the same size as the front screen on the new GoPro 9, but it's touch sensitive. You can do everything you need to do on it. Mostly I used it just to line things up, in fact hardly at all from the front. Line things up obviously from the back, or when it's clamped onto the mountain bike. Everything else you do through the app. It's not a problem. It's not an issue. I say it's probably more responsive than the GoPro 9 on the most recent version of the firmware. As far as moving around, it's just a little small for selecting stuff. But I say do it all from the app. Really, it's just easier. Even when you're on the bike, you can just pop it out and do it from that. So it's definitely a thumbs up. Really, really, really good gadget. And as it's now my main 360 camera, that's the module that sits on there most of the time. So I would get it if you just want an action camera though, you just want it to do front facing or rear facing or vlogging, and you're not concerned about the 360, then a mirrorless camera definitely gives you much, much better quality images than the 1-inch sensor does, of course. And the GoPro is the answer, I think, for just plain action. Image quality is better. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Subscribe, I'd like that. That'd be really, really good. And a thumbs up, well, that always helps the channel. So anyway, see you again soon. Say next time it's going to be GoPro 9, and the one after that is the new Asus rather, tiny PC. It's using one of the Ryzen 4000 series chips. It's absolutely minute. I'm now using it as my main kind of workhorse and for video editing and things like that. And it's got lots of great features, so that's definitely one to look forward to watching. Anyway, see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.